talked about how you had uncles who came to the United States before you and your family arrived.
Yes.
So did you see them much when you were growing up? Or did your family, you said mostly your family was small gatherings, but did your uncles marry and have children as well?
They did. I had my father, out of 7, he had 2 brothers that survived, and they were Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we did see them, but the holidays and Shabbat were primarily the 4 of us. Someone else had a question, yes.
So,
They can. Yes, adults can go.
there is a senior march living now.
No, just an adult.
Yeah, it's an adult one, but same time as our adults.
Yes, yes. You can hear the stories.
We just segregate the kids and the adults a little bit apart.
Yes.
Did your parents have another child
After me, my sister was born in this country 7.5 years later.
Any other questions?
Yes, over there.
I just want to say that my great-grandson several years ago went on the March of the Living.
Oh, good.
And it was a wonderful experience.
It is life-changing. It is life-changing. We had a physician, we take physicians and mental health workers with us, and one of the physicians, his mother had told him that she survived Birkenau, and that she was on the lowest. There's 3 triple-decker areas where the inmates slept, and she was on the bottom area, and it meant nothing to him until he went and he saw that the bottom was the mud creeped up when it rained, and the people in the 2nd and 3rd part of the barrack had dysentery, and everything fell on her.
No.
So she got it from both ways. His life has changed. He's one of my biggest donors now, because it just opened another world to him that he just didn't hear from his mother directly. He just saw it and couldn't believe it. Yes?
What do you find is the attitude of the people of Poland today about Israel?
Mixed.
Since I went in 1988, it was still under communism, the first march, and Poland was a whole different ballgame then. Anti-Semitism was openly rampant. I tried to go into my grandmother's house, like my mother did, and I had an interpreter with us because I forgot my Polish. And the interpreter knocked on the door and said, you know, this young lady would like to go in to her house. And he goes, absolutely not. And I said, can you ask him a question? How long has he been living there? And he responded, all his life. And who did he live with? His father. And what was his father? A gardener.
I gotta tell you that one of our guides and guards on the march when I was there was Polish. He was very protective beyond duty. He felt very strongly that those who were still anti-Semitic were not only wrong, but were adding to the problem. When we went into Kuchin to one of the houses where we saw a Jewish star, by the way, houses are not what we think of as houses here. They're like ramshackle cabins that look like they're going to fall down at times. Dirt floors. And we knocked. And the response came without the door open. Do you remember what he told us?
No.
Tell the bloody, I'm using the word bloody, he used a different term, Jews to get the hell out of here. He turned beet red, he did translate it for us, and we left. But there were others who came forward and did everything they could to make us feel welcome. So it's a mixed bag. And I don't know the numbers, and I don't know if anyone really has those, but we saw both sides of it.
Yes.
As an individual, your own self, with all the trauma that you've gone through, how do you find yourself to carry on, and how do you deal with coping?
In what respect?
Well,
In
did I
general?
hear you say there was a major depression that you went through, and that you just don't wake up tomorrow and say, well, I'm not depressed. Somehow you had to put some energy and awareness to that.
I think it's a very good question. I think the more I studied the topic, and I try to distance myself and become more the educator, and dealt with it that way. But there are times, especially during Yizkor, Kol Nidre, the high holidays, where I will sit and stare at a light, and memories will hit me, and it's hard. And now with my parents gone, and I'm the senior one in the family, it's tough. Anyone that's had a loss, and we've all had some loss, whether it's, a relative or even a pet, it can be a lasting, serve as a lasting effect on you. Yes?
Has anti-Semitism been outlawed in Poland the way it's been outlawed in Germany?
No. The Germans have admitted their guilt, and the Poles have not. Because they look at themselves as victims, German victims as well, and they said, oh, well, 3 million of us were killed as well, and it's true. So we're Jehovah's Witnesses, so we're gypsies, so we're gays, homosexuals, were also killed. The difference is that they didn't go back and check the genes of one grandparent that made you guilty. Whereas the Jews, you could have been brought up a Christian, you could have your children raised as Christian, and then they checked everybody's history, and they found one grandparent was Jewish, your blood is tainted, because they believed the Jews were a race. Jews are not a race. You can become a Jew or leave Judaism, so the Jews are not a race. And they believe that Judaism was a race. And